Hello, please allow me to share with you the extraordinary life of George Floyd as seen from what was occurring in the heavens when we lost him so tragically. It was very moving to draw these charts, to be guided to, and to see the beloved way he was prepared for to be received back into the light. And it's so moving. I thought it was worth making a video out of in order to help understand the beauty of this great soul who heroically helped us return more of our nurturing nature by the tragedy of his torturous end. So this is to celebrate him and his beloved heavenly return. So if we look at his birth chart, we don't really know publicly what the time of birth was, but we can create what's called a solar chart by just putting it at noon and the sun in the first house. And it limits a bit what we can do, but as you can see, we've got this gorgeous symmetry of balance here. Nature loves to find order, and divine order is what we're looking at in these charts of astrology. This shows that he had not only a challenge of what's called a yod, or a finger of God, for his own soul's evolution. This is what that green figure is, but also he had one for the collective. This is called a finger of God, a finger of the world. So it's more of something that he does for the world as a collective challenge that he took on, and this is more for his soul's evolution. And here we have a part of these features are the eternal flame, also the wounded healer. Here's the proactive healer. We have as well higher consciousness and kind of the buddy, you might say, which he was to many. And also this is the truth and justice warrior, Pallas Athena. So these are all factoring into this feature in his birth chart. What's more unusual and special is this series of 3 of these yods. We have this one going down here, as well as one this way to his Mars and one up here to Saturn. So, but this one is going, this whole figure is going towards divine love, unconditional love, and also earthly love with Neptune and Venus here. And so it's very special to see that. On top of that, there is an initiation that takes place. He earned this privilege, you might say, to be to evolve his soul. His soul. This is an esoteric or a spiritual kind of energy that's directed at Black Moon Lilith. Now, Black Moon Lilith, in these times, as we reach for our higher evolution as humans, we're taking a quantum leap at this time in this lifetime, and George helped us do that on a global level by the force that was created in uproar over the way he was tragically treated. We can say that there was a potential in his birth chart for this type of an initiation and this type of a difficult focus. And here, Black Moon Lilith, the return of the divine feminine, is at one of the most special points in a chart. It's actually so unusual, the great attractor, that astronomers don't quite know what it is. Light bends around it, and some call it source energy. It's one of the few galactic points in an astrology chart, and so it's very special to have it exactly placed at this feature to evolve his soul It's like he earned this right to reach for this. And if we look and see what else is there, we can see that with the divine flame, it's actually in proportion to harmonia. Now, harmonia, we can say, is not unusual to add to a chart for George Floyd, because the New York Times reviewed him as a rapper in a favorable way. So harmony, as a singer, that the New York Times reviewed, could be seen as part of his energy pattern in a normal way, and also because he created a lot of harmony within the communities where he lived by using his own humanity as an example to help people find the divine nature within them. And so if we add in, we just add back in that nova, that special initiation focus towards there, and harmonia, then we have this another pentagram, which is more spiritual and also challenging, to go towards the return of the divine feminine, Black Moon Lilith. And it even broadens if we add in, again, that wisdom-seeking truth and justice, as well as the evolution of his soul in this lifetime. And also revolutionary change with Uranus at his sun, and again, higher consciousness and his optimistic nature of Jupiter. So if we take away harmonia, because it's not a regular feature of a chart, and we just look at what's there, we've got this lovely crown of Undachile energy, which is focused on the collective, the evolution of the collective, or of humanity, you could say. And if we look back again at the math, we have not just the great attractor there focused, but we can say, okay, so here is his named asteroid George, and it is exactly balanced by the asteroid Bless on the other side of the chart. His middle name, Perry, is at another one of these very few galactic points, this time the one that's closest to Earth, and that is the eye of the Milky Way galaxy. And so he's got some very special energy here in his chart, as well as the asteroid for peace. In Latin, it's Pax, and it's just on the other side of Black Moon Lilith from the Great Attractor. So it's a really lovely series of symmetries in the asteroids around and other points around his birth chart's focus. In there as well in his birth chart is this wonderful, what I call a quintile elevator. It's a transformational movement that rises the energy up. And here it's focused at the moon, which is our nurturing nature, and is also our subconscious. And it's here factored in with, again, the evolution of his soul, with the brightest identity he has, his sun. And again, here is the healer, the wounded healer, which we could definitely say George was. He used his history as a very human being to then help other people in a humble way see how they might move beyond their humanity into a lighter way of being, and reaching for their spiritual nature. So this is exquisite how this factors in, and this beautiful balance of symmetry. And then if you take that same kind of feature and you take it over here to Astrea, Astrea is another version of the return of the divine feminine. The difference is Black Moon Lilith is a mathematical point. Astrea is actually an asteroid. She's a body of an object in the solar system, and she is also the return of the divine feminine. So in that similar way, we have the same initiation feature that he's earned to reach for her. And here we can see that those are the only two places in his chart, his birth chart, without knowing his birth time, that have this type of a focus directed at, both of them are directed at the return of the divine feminine, and that says quite a lot. And it's mirrored in what else we see going on at the time that we tragically lost him. I made a mistake at one point, but then I realized it wasn't quite a mistake. I had somehow created a pattern within the software where I had thought we knew his birth time, and then I realized, well, this is rather mysterious. Maybe this isn't a mistake, because as you can see, even though these are not the angles are the ascendant and the midheaven. Here, the software program is trying to create them, and in a mysterious way, it's creating a feature of this another elevator to this time Astrea, the return of the divine feminine, and we're going to see that the same configuration was in the time of his passing, but at that time it was going to Black Moon Lilith. So, but if we just look at if we combine it with the one that went to the moon, we have that beautiful balance. Even though these angles aren't real, it's just exquisitely beautiful. And from that, we can see this star. It kind of has a falling star quality if you put in Black Moon Lilith, and it includes, therefore, both of the returning divine feminine, as well as Harmonia and the part of fortune. Amazingly, we will see that same star with those same points in the time of his passing. So it's extraordinary to see it mirrored this way. This is the midheaven, but it's really Pluto, because this is not a real midheaven, and this is the ascendant in a fake way, you could say, but it's tied in exactly with Juno. And so we'll see that later again, as I mentioned. But here we have the very sad moment that the knee knelt on his neck. We know this from the video. And here we see again, this time with the angles, that elevator of transformational energy moving towards Black Moon Lilith, the return of the divine feminine. And at that same time, there was a hard rectangle that crossed it. And also Astrea comes in with some kind of energy to really move it in this direction, along with his past mastery as a soul. And you can see at the same time that the wounded healer is reaching up here to this very ideal type of mate energy. We've got then also two of these, that this is all happening when the knee first knelt on his neck, and Astrea overlit it with some very high vibrational energy and difficult energies, trying to add in a lighter feature. You're going to see this same initiation here, and where we had bless balancing out his name George in his birth chart, here it's exactly configured with Astrea. So about 5 minutes later, when George's body sadly became very still, we see that what had been more energizing to move in this direction now is in a unified harmonic of transformational energy, kind of like a glider moving towards the divine feminine. And if we add in Harmonia, it turns out it's exactly balancing out the return of the divine feminine, Black Moon Lilith, and creates this lovely, even larger glider of balanced energy. And not only that, within there we could add in that moment in time, the most brilliant energy at that moment of his passing. The sun, we could add that in, and it makes even a larger feature, but the real symmetry is just within here, and within that we see a 5-pointed star within a cradle, Estrella cradling him there. And as mentioned, it relates back to the birth chart. Here's Harmonia, Estrella, and the part of fortune, which we see as well in that birth chart again, Estrella, Harmonia, and the part of fortune. It's the exact opposite of what was the supposed midheaven and the supposed ascendant. In the birth chart now, it's the real descendant, and I see the opposite angles. So how magnificent a symmetry mirroring from his birth chart this is at the moment of passage. This is so extraordinarily beautiful to see. And again, this is where that star was placed, in that glider towards Black Moon Lilith. And at that same time, when his body had become still, we also see a kite flowing towards the wounded healer. We see a kite flowing towards divine love, eternal love, unconditional love. We are all one. And we also see that this had been forming back when the knee first went on his neck. This collective energy into Chile is moving in a bright way towards the tunnel of light. The vertex portal, graced by the moon, is what this kite is, or what is going to be turning into a kite when you add in this now a different kind of initiation. This is more of a pyramid, and then at the time he passed, you have this larger energy, again Estrella coming in to bless him, and the sun gracing him in that lovely way. So bless George Perry. Perry here is exact with the portal of the tunnel of light, and it's the moon there is exact with Sirius, one of our most important neighboring stars, and as well the North Node, that moment in time's evolution for the soul, that was exact with our North Star, Polaris. And you can just see some of the other points that we had shown in his birth chart, just so you have it as reference. But then when the knee was finally lifted from his neck and he was released, you might say, from restraint, that too was showing in the chart these energies. I'll show you what it was a moment before. It was more of this collective energy, and now it's moved into this higher vibrational septile energy, more or less, to put it as a turbo, you might say, in a joyous way, going back into the light. At that same time when the knee was lifted from his neck, this extraordinary Merkaba, or hexagon, came in at the angles. If you add in Lovejoy, which is very high vibrational, joyous, blissful, loving energy, which you can think of as heaven energy, and that is also brought in by the part of fortune, the most fortuitous point in a chart, and for him certainly to be gifted, greeted by this divine vehicle, which ancient wise ones have used for millennia as a vehicle to God. This very heavenly feature is magnificent to see at the moment that the neck was released. And if we take away the structures supporting them, then we add in Estrella and Black Moon Lilith. the return of the divine feminine, you see we've got these elevators once more, and you just going to go backwards and just show you how extraordinary that is to see all of these mirror rings in his moment of passage. What's in the center here, the midpoints, bordering on either side, these border either side, kind of guiding him through, is Venus's earthly love and beauty, as well as the healing of Hygeia, the very proactive healer, who is exact with Cloud Gate, which is an angelic portal. And all of these symmetries factor in to move George in this divine way through the tunnel of light, with these lovely guides bringing him that way at that same moment. Earlier, actually, we had seen that when the knee first was kneeling on his neck, that Astrea came in to overlight, and there was this same initiation there. It became more difficult when his body became still. And then the moment that he was released, you have this starburst of joyous, just beautiful image. What was challenging before with these yods has dissolved, and all you have are the bright feet moving up towards the blessing, as well as rest in peace. So Astrea is exactly balanced by rest in peace and exactly conjoined with bless. So bless George Perry, rest in peace. It is my dearest hope that these charts of what was appearing in the heavens as we tragically lost George Floyd, that hopefully we will see the beloved nature of his heroic journey at the end of his life, and how there was no accident to the really divine way that he was greeted and prepared for. I found these charts very, very moving to create, and I'm not a religious person. I found these charts were of a religious nature. It was a very religious experience for me to create these charts, to be guided into them. And I trust that they offer us some healing. My awareness is these celebrate George as one of our true heroes and beloved of God, you might say. And at the same time, as he is blessed here with this configuration, may you, George, also bless us and guide us on our way. And may your family be blessed, and may flights of angels guide thee to thy rest. Much love to all. Bless you, George, and thank you for helping us heal our world.